Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack the massive, world-class ambition behind the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone. But we're also going to impartially explore the very complex realities this initiative is creating right on the ground. We are looking at a truly fascinating collision here, a roaring macroeconomic boom right alongside a really tough microeconomic squeeze.
To truly understand the sheer scale of this economic integration, we've got to start with the staggering number, 3,588. That's the size, in square kilometers, of the planned Special Economic Zone. To put that into perspective for you, that is nearly 5 times the physical size of Singapore itself. We are talking about a colossal canvas for economic development.
So, here's our roadmap for today. 1. The megazone ambition. 2. Slashing the causeway commute. 3. The affordability paradox. 4. A tale of two Johors. And finally, 5. Balancing the boom. Let's jump in.
Section 1. The megazone ambition. Building a $28 billion boom.
We'll begin with the sheer financial horsepower driving this whole thing. The overarching goal is to inject a massive $28 billion boost into Johor's economy by the year 2030. It's a completely transformative figure meant to redefine the region's global standing. And Singapore's Prime Minister, Lawrence Wong, really hit the nail on the head regarding the core philosophy behind those billions. He noted that the goal isn't Johor acting alone or Singapore acting alone. It's about creating a synergistic, globally competitive ecosystem. They are essentially abandoning the old idea of being two competing border cities and instead fusing their distinct advantages together.
Now you have to hear about the incredibly aggressive incentive package they've designed to make this ecosystem a reality. The targets are clear enough: create 20,000 skilled jobs and attract 50 major projects in just the first 5 years. But the bait they're using to get there is wild. They're offering a preferential 5% corporate tax rate for up to 15 years for high-value industries like AI and aerospace. And for the talent they want to attract, there's a flat 15% personal income tax rate. Plus, in the Forest City District, a 0% tax rate for single-family offices. It's a deliberate, calculated magnet for global capital.
Section 2. Slashing the causeway commute. From hours to minutes.
You simply can't have a shared economic ecosystem if people and goods are just stuck in gridlock, right? They absolutely have to fix one of the world's most congested borders. So how are they doing it? Well, Malaysia has already started step 1, rolling out QR code clearance and e-gate immigration, which is aimed at slashing border clearance times down to just 20 minutes. But the real game changer is step 2, the Rapid Transit System, or RTS, which launches on January 1, 2027. Step 3 is the ultimate payoff. Once that RTS is running, a commuter's physical journey across the causeway will take a mere 6 minutes.
And the volume is just as impressive as the speed here. At full capacity, that RTS train will carry 150,000 passengers daily. Think about what that actually does to a region. It effectively blurs the geographic lines between the two workforces, making living in Johor and working in Singapore, or vice versa, practically seamless.
But here is the turn. Section 3, the affordability paradox, the microeconomic squeeze. While the macro numbers on foreign investment and infrastructure look incredible, Johor saw a record 6.4% GDP growth in 2024, the microeconomic reality on the ground is presenting a severe affordability challenge for everyday local residents. Take Ahmad Azri, for example. He's a 32-year-old local purchasing officer, and his story really grounds this whole explainer in reality. He wanted an affordable 180,000 ringgit home near the city center so he could start a family. But that dream basically evaporated. He ended up having to buy a smaller home an hour away because, as he puts it, finding anything below 300,000 ringgit is almost impossible now. This is the real-world squeeze of hyperdevelopment. Let's dive into the data behind Ahmad's experience. Have you heard of the median multiple? It's a global benchmark measuring the ratio of median house prices to median incomes. In Johor right now, that multiple has reached 7.4. According to global standards, anything above 5.1 is considered severely unaffordable. Experts point out that local wages are completely failing to keep pace with property prices, especially considering condominium prices jumped up a massive 20% in just a short window since 2024.
The crucial point here is this dual market dynamic, which is often called the Singapore factor. Just think about this stark comparison. On one hand, you have a local earning 4,000 ringgit who is seriously struggling with soaring rents. On the other hand, you have a cross-border worker earning 4,000 Singapore dollars who now possesses roughly 3 times the purchasing power when spending in Johor. The local economy is increasingly benchmarking its real estate and consumer prices against the super strong Singapore dollar, and that is effectively pricing out workers who are paid entirely in ringgit.
Section 4. A tale of two Johors. the geographic wealth divide.
This affordability mismatch isn't just dividing residents by income, it is physically fracturing the state's geography. There is a really stark contrast in poverty rates by district right now. In Johor Bahru, the southern hub, right next to the SEZ in Singapore, the poverty rate is a low 3.7%. But if you travel north to a district like Mersing, that number spikes to a troubling 12.7%. The wealth is simply not spreading evenly.
And the reason why is pretty straightforward. The JSCZ specifically targets the southern corridor. That is where all the massive data centers, the high-value logistics, and the billions in foreign direct investment are landing. Meanwhile, northern and central districts are relying on legacy manufacturing. So naturally, residents in these outlying districts fear being left behind. And this uneven growth is creating heavy grassroots pressure ahead of the state assembly elections.
Section 5. Balancing the boom, bridging the socioeconomic gap.
This brings us to the ultimate policy test for the state government. How on earth can they sustain this incredible economic momentum while ensuring prosperity extends to everyone, and not just those plugged into the cross-border ecosystem? Well, their core strategy is to push local incomes up, rather than suppressing investment. When it comes to housing, they plan to drastically expedite their affordable housing scheme, aiming for 100,000 units by 2030, which is way up from the 20,000 currently sold. On the income front, they're eyeing a 4,000 ringgit salary floor for graduates entering key SEZ sectors, and using the new Johor Talent Development Council to match locals with high-paying jobs. And long-term, they're exploring productivity-linked wages. They're essentially telling corporations, look, if you want our tax incentives, you absolutely must pass the savings on to your local workers.
Furthermore, to combat that huge geographic divide we talked about earlier, they've launched the Johor Economic Transformation Plan. They are intentionally rolling out 83 distinct projects distributed across all 10 districts. The main goal here is specialization. They want to turn Batu Pahat into a processing hub, make Pontian a center for blue-green energy, give Mersing a massive boost through ecotourism. It's a really concerted effort to ensure the whole map lights up with opportunity, not just the southern tip.
So, as voters head to the polls on July 11th to weigh this exact paradox of progress, we have to leave you with this big question. Can the JSSEZ truly create a unified economic ecosystem without pricing out the very people it aims to uplift? Can hyperdevelopment be effectively balanced by state intervention, or is the squeeze simply the unavoidable cost of the boom? It is a very delicate tightrope of governance, and the entire region will be watching closely to see how it unfolds. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it brought some clarity to a truly fascinating topic.